So, welcome back to my channel, everyone. I have a very, very nice group of people today. And we're going to start from the top right of the room. We have Isaac, who is the director of sales for Ariel Acoustics North America. We have Luis Miranda, who's no stranger by now. He is part of 3MA in Houston, Texas. He has a killer store in Houston, Texas. If you haven't seen that store, you're missing out. We have Enzo from Boulder Amplifiers, okay? A brand that's very well known to me. If you haven't seen my factory tour of Boulder Amplifiers, please search for it on YouTube. And last but not least, we have Jeremy Bryant, who is president of MBL North America. Welcome to my channel, guys.
Hello.
Thank you for having us, Jay.
Thanks for having us, Jay.
I'm pretty excited to see you guys in about 18 days, more or less, before we head out to the Southwest Audiofest in Dallas, Texas. Okay, this is actually the second year of this show, but this year is going to be a lot more impressive and special because Luis, you're going to be showing some serious madness at the show. You're going to have one of the most astonishing rooms, I am sure, at the show with the MBL 101 Extreme MK2 system.
Yes, sir. Well, again, thank you, Jay. Thanks to your audience. And, honestly, we would want to invite all of you, including your audience and our fellow 3MA family, to come see us at the Southwest Audiofest. So we'll be having 3 rooms. And, some of the gentlemen you see up here are room partners. And that's why we wanted to do this, to kind of get the word out, let everybody know that we will be having 3 amazing rooms at the show with several of our brands and room partners, some of which you see here. So thank you, Jay, for allowing us to do this. We're very excited. Being the second year of the show, we were like, well, now we have to go all out, right?
Absolutely.
So bringing the MBL 101 Extremes, bringing a 6-pack of reference subwoofers from Ariel Acoustics. It just makes everything that much more important and that much more significant to us. So we hope, all of you that missed out on the great Florida audio show, please come visit us in Texas. We'll be happy to host you and see these amazing rooms.
Great, thank you. And I want to switch over to Kenzo over at Boulder Amplifiers. I know you have some special amplifiers that are going to be playing in one of Luis's room, right? The new monos, I believe.
Yes, sir. So this will actually be the premiere show for the 1151 monoblocks. We're super excited about these guys. We were kind of looking to do a couple things with these. One, just filling a price gap between the 1100 series and the 21 series, because it was just such a big jump going from the 1160 to a 2160. So we needed to find something that could fit a niche kind of customer base there. And then it was also a really good opportunity for us to kind of test out some new circuitry and some biasing schemes that we were working with. And so we've got some new technology in these guys. We think it's pretty innovative and pretty different from anything else that's out there right now. And so, we're really excited to see what the American public has to say about these guys. We took them to some of our distributors in East Asia, and we got some really good feedback there. And that kind of gave us an opportunity to reevaluate the rest of the 1100 series and see how these improvements could be brought to those guys. And so, man, we've been all systems go on this new 1100 series. So having the 1151s at Southwest is going to be a fun time.
I tell you, Jay, this is very exciting for us as a dealer, because it's the first time Boulder is offering monoblocks in this price point, right? So it's not just is it exciting, but I'm telling you, I've been playing with these things. They're right here,
right?
And they sound incredible. I mean, this is by far the best 1100 series I've heard so far. Mind you, they're also coming out with the new stereo 1100 series amplifier, but these things have blown my mind. I mean, the performance level is creeping so much closer to the 2000 series than before. And I'm very, very happy to be showing these puppies
How
at
much are
the
they?
Southwest show.
They are 47.5 for the pair.
What's the power, the specifications, high level specifications?
High level specs on these guys, we are running peak power at 350 watts into 8, 600 into 4 ohms, and peaks of 750 into 2. But continuous power rating, we kept it conservative at 250 watts.
Very conservative.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, you
These
stick that
things,
guy on a bench, you'll get way more. But
man, these things are incredible. I tell you, we have the Magico S5s connected to them right now,
Yeah, I see them.
and extremely, extremely powerful amplifiers. I mean, I don't care what they say about watts. These things just kick ass. And Isaac's been here and he's heard them too. So
Luis, and so right now you have them on display at the store, 3MA. And what is the system composed of with these 1100 monoblocks? What do you have?
Right. So what we are going to be showing at the show is pretty much what we have here in the
Great.
showroom.
Okay.
Some differences. So we're going to be using the Magico S5 loudspeakers, the 2024s. And, you know, we're really going to showcase what a 6-pack or a line array of subwoofers are able to do. I'll let Isaac talk a little bit more about that, but just to keep going over the system, so we're going to have a 2100 series preamplifier. And in this showroom, we have a DCS Rossini hooked up, but we're going to be taking the DCS Vivaldi, and everything's going to be wired with Nordos Odin 2, and we're also going to have the Inuit Statement as a streamer.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Isaac, I'm going to hand it over to you now so you can give us a little more insights about this 6-pack subwoofer situation that I have seen, which I see in your background with some Alexia V's. I can see them from here. You know, a lot has been said about the importance of subs, of course, and how much more they add to the presentation. I am finally starting to play with subs, and it definitely has been an eye-opener for me. But I've always been curious as to, you know, the importance of doing a 6-pack. What you typically are displaying at shows and in Luis's showroom is something that we normally don't see in many people's homes, in many customers' homes. I haven't seen it, but I have heard it, although not as much as I'd like to hear it. But maybe you could tell my audience the importance of doing the 6-pack, those subs from Ariel that are absolutely showstoppers.
Yeah, well, thanks, Jay. It's a pleasure to be here. And Luis, I don't know if you meant to say 3 amazing rooms. I thought that was a real great nod to 3MA.
Right.
You know, I'm really pleased, first of all, to be partnering with so many great brands, right? Kenzo, you know, over at Boulder makes amazing stuff. I did get a chance to hear that. You know, the speakers are wonderful. We got a chance, Luis and I, to set those up together along with one of my colleagues. So we're really excited going into this. You know, woofers, you know, I think we can say a lot about them. I'll start with a generous nod towards my colleague, Jeremy at MBL. You know, there are companies like MBL, there are companies, you know, like Wilson, who believe in subwoofers too, right? That's why a lot of their flagship designs incorporate woofer columns. They're just not readily accessible to everybody, but they recognize the importance of them, right? You know, we have striven over decades, right, in order to make sub-bass accessible to people who love everything. A big part of what makes REL special are the high-level inputs, the REL high-level inputs, which have a filter board, an analog filter board, no DSP, that look a lot like the type of crossovers you would see at Jeremy's speakers, or you would see in Alon speakers at Magico. And some of the best loudspeakers in the world that we're talking about here have a propagation delay, or how long it takes, you know, for their crossovers to work, so to speak. And Jeremy can nod or shake his head against me here, is about 4 milliseconds. You know, that is unreal fast. That is really fast. Part of what makes REL special, the number 32s you see in the background and the number 31s that we're going to use at Southwest Audiofest, is that they also feature a propagation delay of about 4 to 6 milliseconds. That is as fast as the best loudspeakers in the world. that speed, the lack of DSP, right, which is often used as a band-aid to cover up problems, also induces time smear and delays that make it really hard to keep up with some of the best loudspeakers in the world. And one of the things that we're really proud of at REL is our ability to take your favorite loudspeaker, Jay, whatever you have, you want to play with these, right? Take whatever you have and it'll make them better. You know, it's the better the loudspeaker, the faster and more amazing the REL becomes. And that's really counterintuitive. We're used to thinking of woofers as being really slow. So what makes the stackable woofers? You know, there have been a number of competitors who are trying to catch up to us after a bunch of years with the stackable design. As some measure of success. Why do we do it? There are a couple reasons. Number one is pretty obvious, right? More output, more power. But that also means that each driver does less, that each amplifier does less. It's not that we're trying to put more bass into the room. We're trying to put the same amount of bass into the room, but make sure everything does it more effortlessly. Just as Kenzo was describing the benefits of monoblocks versus stereo, you can kind of think of it the same way in this as well. It's also important to understand that what we're doing at REL is distinct from the woofer columns that you see from many other designers. Because we have 3 different amplifiers, 3 different woofers on each side, as you can see here. And, if we kind of look at the other side, you can see the other 3 there. That means that we're tuning each of those woofers for a unique purpose. They're not all 3 doing the same things. So the atmospheric bass at the top is really the magical bit. That's why we're always trying to get people to 6, because once you hit that 3rd bit or that 3rd pair on top, you get cymbals at the right height. You get atmospheric bass, you get the pressure of what's going on all around you, which I suspect is one of the reasons that Jeremy and MBL in the 101 Extreme put a whole extra speaker on top of a whole speaker, because it's amazing when you start to reproduce some of those lower frequencies like you do in real life. A kick drum isn't always at the floor on a stage, it's at your face or a little bit above you. The last thing that I'm really excited to showcase at Southwest Audiofest with some of these partners is, how do we take a system that you already love, a speaker you already love, and allow it to be a speaker that you can't afford? I can't afford XVX. I feel pretty special to be able to have Alexia V. But I got to tell you, when I was joking with my friends at Wilson about, well, it's too bad it's not XVX, one of my friends, kind of off the record, was like, yeah, but you kind of do have XVX. I'm like, well, what do you mean? He goes, well, with a 6-pack of woofers, he goes, you're getting awfully close to the scale of that bigger speaker system, even if it's not exactly all the time alignment and all the extra drivers, right? You get a huge taste of that. If you can afford the 101 Extreme system that's sitting behind Jeremy, please buy that. That is such an extraordinary system. It's designed from top to bottom with something in mind. But for stuff that's below that, and I'll turn it over to him when it's his turn. But listen, if you buy other speakers from him, boy, would I love to be associated with that. I'd love to make other stuff better. There are places where we fit in that allow you to get some of the scale of the biggest systems in the world for a lot less money than that one step up in speaker would be. So that's why we have the line array. That's what I hope to do with Luis at the show. And for your viewers, just to know, this is the very first time we're going to have a reference display in a 6-pack for the broader consuming public. This has never been done before. So I really want to double down with Luis, what he was saying, and Jay, with you and your audience. Please come see us. We are so excited to show this. We just don't get to do this here in the United States very often, and it's a privilege to be able to work with Johnny and Luis and be the first time here at Southwest.
Amazing. Okay, Jeremy, you're up next. Not last but not least, of course. I left you for last because you're bringing the madness to Dallas, and if for those of you who have never heard an Extreme system, you really ought to hear this system in Dallas, and obviously in Houston at 3MA. It's one of those systems that not only aesthetically, in my opinion, make a huge impact on you, but sonically is very few systems that I can think of that really put this level of realism in front of you. The disappearing, just the instrumentation in the air, right? The spaciousness, the effortlessness. And obviously, I'll tell you, my wife even said, it's so cool looking. Like, it doesn't look like a standard sound system. It doesn't give you that feeling. You walk into that room and you're trying to make out what it is. And so it's got it all, from the visuals, from the aesthetics to obviously the sound. It's just unbelievable. So I'm looking forward to hearing this system, Jeremy. But tell us a little more about the system, and and obviously if you can share with us the room size, if things of that nature.
Yeah, hi. Thanks, Jay, for having us, and thanks to Isaac and Kenzo and Luis for participating and inviting us in. We're really excited to be working at the Southwest Audiofest with 3MA, who's our retail partner and the best MBL dealer in North America. In terms of what's on display, most of the line, including the 101 Extreme system. And we are going to have two different exhibits at the Southwest Audiofest. Last year, if anybody had a chance, we got in very late. We got the last room available. So it was a standard hotel room, which was about 14 by 19, roughly. So we brought an appropriate size system for that room. We're a little bit unique because we do make complete systems. It is not a closed system, though. There's no electrical or otherwise reason that you have to use MBL electronics with MBL speakers and vice versa. We have many customers that love big tube amplifiers with our speakers, or love our solid state electronics with Wilson. For example, we share a distributor in probably the biggest market in the world, in Hong Kong and China. So there's lots of MBL equipment with Wilson products. So this year at the show, we were able to get a larger room, a conference room on the mezzanine level. There's some new rooms that opened up to the show that weren't there last year. So we're part of this new group, and we're very excited about it. We will have a regular room as well, room 1103. That's the 14 by 19 room, where we're going to show the MBL 120, which is a three-way stand mount. All of our speakers use the same radial tweeter and mid-range that are our inventions and proprietary materials and construction techniques. It's how they handle the bass and the size of the room volume that they can pressurize comfortably. So there is an appropriate MBL speaker. We make 6 different models and 2 different center channel versions. There's an appropriate speaker for an appropriate room size. So you can come and hear the sort of entry-level system at the room 1103. We will have our new C41 network player, which we're very proud was just given Product of the Year and an Editor's Choice Award from the Absolute Sound magazine. And it will be our entry-level stereo amplifier called the C21, powering the 120s in this appropriate size room. And then we're also going to be in the Wyeth room on the mezzanine, as I said, with the 101 Extreme system. This room is approximately 27 by 43, 44, something like this. It does have a low ceiling. There are some challenges. As such, Luis and I made a reconnaissance visit to the hotel a few weeks ago, just to make sure that everything, there were no surprises when we got there with the limited time and tools available to all of us to set up for a show. So we learned about the power and the dimensions and the ambient noise and all the fun things that we as show exhibitors get to deal with that the home consumer doesn't have to wrestle with most of the time. What can I tell you about the Extreme system? It was developed based on the radial tweeter and mid-range, as I said, that's on all of our speakers. And then it has the radial mid-bass drivers, which are these large silver things. We call them melons or footballs. They've been called the pineapple speaker. We've heard all kinds of things about them. But it's an interesting thing, to your point, Jay, that they are interesting looking and do appeal to a lot of people's aesthetic sense, even if they're not into audio. The speaker doesn't look like a big box with drivers in it like many of our competitors. But this is a pure Bauhaus expression. The drive units have to look exactly the way they look. They have to be exactly the same materials. They have to be put together exactly the same way, or they will not function as designed and as we know that they can. So we can't even paint this melon. We get a lot of requests if we can paint this black or anodize this black. And it completely changes the way that it functions. So we kind of got lucky, I guess, in that sense, that it is an interesting aesthetic look that does appeal to a lot of listeners. To Isaac's point, we are a bottom-up type loudspeaker designer. Some are top-down. Some other ones here at the show are going to be top-down. We work from the base up. We firmly believe that if the bass is not right, nothing else is going to be right or sound natural or be exciting or involving to listen to. So we do have subwoofers on our four largest speakers. All the floor standards have subwoofers on board, which of course can be augmented or accentuated with outboard subwoofers. We have many customers with REL that integrate very well. But our extreme system that we'll be showing has his own sort of six-pack. He's kind of behind me here. This is one subwoofer. This is actually three different independent cabinets of subwoofers stacked on top of one another with very, very solid and massive stainless steel rods. And the whole thing bolts together once it's put in place. We're using side firing drivers because we're omnidirectional loudspeakers. So our radial drivers are putting similar tone and pressure evenly distributed in the horizontal plane, 360 degrees. And they're also firing up and down between 10 and 30 degrees to give you this spinorama type window so that you have a very large, very natural sounding sound stage, and you're not locked into sort of the what can be the audiophile head vice, where if you move 2 centimeters this way or that way, the whole soundstage collapses. Our speakers don't behave that way if they're set up properly in a decent room. They do take on the character of the room that they're placed in. All of the MBL speakers do by nature of the way that they're functioning and the way that they're loading the room with tone and pressure. So the room sound is a significant portion of the total sound that you hear, as we all know. So the quality of the room is extremely important. So we are bringing all the tools we can to the Southwest Audiofest. With Luis's help, we're going to have a very large truck loaded up in Houston and driven to Dallas, and then the race is on. Setting up a smaller room that has its own quirks and idiosyncrasies. And then hopefully when that's done, we get to set up the big boys.
That's going to be impressive. I mean, Luis, are you the only dealer in the United States with MBL Extremes?
No, there's quite a few. We're the only ones in Texas for sure. But there are other dealers with MBL Extremes. But, Jay, I want to reiterate how special this is, right? So taking this system that's behind me, taking that down and putting it together is approximately 4 hours of work each time. So we got to take it down, pack it up, ship it, and then put it together over there for a show that's only 3 days. So we are going all out so that not just your audience, our customers and other customers throughout the US are able to experience this because it is that special. And this is the MK2 version. So this has additional settings in the subwoofer tower to be able to just dial it in and optimize it to perfection. We have 1103, which will have the MBL 120s with the cadenza line of electronics. And we will have the room 1134, which is a grand presidential suite where we're going to have the Boulder, the Magicos, and the line array of reference subwoofers. And then another thing, I wanted to invite your audience, Jay. We're going to have an after hours event with another partner with Cobuzz and David Solomon playing the Extremes that are right there next to Jeremy. So it's going to be very, very fun and exciting to be able to just relax and jam out and just have a good time with the Extremes.
Speaking of that, if you haven't attended any show or if you have attended a show, I recommend that you go into the MBL rooms for a late hour listening party. He's always there, and he's got these reel to reel tapes, man, and he plays all kinds of music from, years where I wasn't even born. I mean, and it's phenomenal what you learn, when you listen to recordings like that, Jeremy, that you play and you handpick. I mean, it's just phenomenal. So every time you attend a show, try to go to his room, try to go to the MBL room. You're gonna have a ball, and there's obviously some drinks and stuff like that help to lighten the mood. He's good at that too, so make sure you are definitely part of those after hours with the MBL team.
The sparkling water, the sparkling water really helps to get the music flowing. I was just going to say, to brag on Jeremy for a second, to your point, Jay, I think a lot of your audience wants to come and talk to us about technical stuff. And I love that. Right. And I think Jeremy does too, but he and I get together at every opportunity and listen to music and just spin stories about the songs. Right. And that's part of what makes hanging out with him, I think, a lot of fun, is great curated music. And I think in this group, you're going to find a bunch of music lovers. We are going to play non-standard music. We are going to play stuff that you've heard before and stuff you've not heard before. And it's part of what makes working with this group so much fun.
Yep. I agree.
Agreed. I just want to say first, yes, of course, everyone's welcome to the, we're calling this After Dark with MBL and Co-Buzz. That will start both Friday night and Saturday night at 8 p.m. and go at least until midnight, sometimes even later. It just depends how long I can stay vertical. I got a lot going on at these shows, but we're pedal to the metal. We spend a hell of a lot of time and effort, and I squeeze every possible second and tools available out of the setup. So I don't want to make any excuses. I never do. I want people to come and enjoy the sound of the system as much as they can. And the after hours, like you said, are a more relaxed version. You're free to bring libations and come and have a good time with MBL. One of the great things about the omnidirectional radio stroller, we call it, is that most people in the room can enjoy same tone and pressure and a relatively stable sound stage, no matter where you're sitting. You just get a different perspective, as if you're in the concert hall. You're sitting a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right. You will have this same type of presentation. We're powering this system with our reference line of electronics. We have 3 levels of electronics: reference, noble, and cadenza line. So in 1103, we're going to have the cadenza line, the entry level system from MBL, as we described. And then in Wyeth, with the 101 Extreme Mark II loudspeakers, we're going to show our reference line electronics. We have 2 different monoblock amplifiers in the series, big and bigger. And then there's a stereo preamp called the 6010. This may be the longest or one of the longest production running products that are still current on the market, over 35 years. The basic design has been in production, both aesthetically and sonically. And the amplifiers in their current iteration are about 20 or 22 years old. So we're a little bit different in everything that we do. We try to get it right the first time and then let it run. So I think that's everything. Any other questions that I can answer or something I didn't cover? We'll be having Wire World cables in our room, the new Eclipse 10.
Great.
Not sure yet if it'll be platinum or not. It's quite a lot of cables. The Extreme system is 6 channels of amplification, all needing the same feed of the line source for a line level from the same preamplifier. So our big preamp has a plethora of inputs and outputs, and we got over 3 pairs of 50-foot long interconnects in order to set up in a way that will maximize attendee seating and flow of traffic through the room. So we're waiting for Wire World to decide that's a lot of silver to put out there for the platinum level. But either way, partnership with Wire World goes over 30 years with MBL. They build some cables for us to our spec for inside speakers and amplifiers and things like that. So we definitely like to partner with Wire World.
Amazing. Well, Luis, I got to tell you, man, this seems of course, the naked eye as a 3-day production, right? Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But they really do not know that you have to probably arrive 2 days prior to that. And then by the time you break down and then get to your store to unload the trucks and assemble it all again, you're talking at least a week that you're completely out.
Absolutely. I mean, we're already staged the crates, and towards the end of this week, we're going to start packing stuff up.
Man, I mean, I thank you for that effort. I can't thank you enough. For the audience, of course, my audience, I'm sure they would thank you if they could, because very little is said about what goes on behind the scenes at these shows, right? We always, as spectators of this, we like to critique, criticize, bash, sometimes highlight, and definitely, never stop to pay attention at everything else that goes on prior to the show. All the blood, sweat, and tears, plus the fact that it is not cheap to really put on a show. When you think about the room, the cost of the room, the logistics, plane tickets, hotels, airfare, I mean, it becomes pricey. I mean, luckily Louise is there, so you're just going to drive it over to Dallas, right? It's like a 4-hour drive from where you are, more or less, 4.5. So
Yes.
that helps, but you still need a crew, you still need people, you still need to feed, employees. So, man, thank you for that effort, man. Thank you for that support. Not many dealers are willing to embark on what you're embarking on, bringing the extreme, and of course, Jeremy there to, enlighten us with all of his music and, the way he presents the system, the way he explains the technology. I mean, who else could do better than could do it better than Jeremy, right? So thank you guys for this collaboration, for this effort, and let's try to keep the show growing, right? That's the biggest thing. I mean, it's got a lot of potential to continue to evolve and get larger and larger. I don't know the numbers yet. I'm going to have to talk to Gary to see how many more exhibitors we have this second year of the show, so that I understand how much bigger it's getting. I do think that the venue is great. If you want good food, Texas got it. If you need the space, if you need big rooms, the weather is going to be good. It's not going to be nasty. And so I can't think of a better venue right now, in my opinion, than Dallas. So I hope it continues to grow. I hope that I can continue, you guys, to see you guys there supporting the show, all of you here, all of you manufacturers, and those that are not part of this video, right? I want to make sure that you guys continue to support shows. We need to come together and definitely share the love and passion that we have for this hobby. Ultimately, it's about the music, right? Really, that's about the music that we should be thinking about. But of course, music doesn't really pay the bills, right? We got to sell equipment. We got to make sure people are buying the right stuff. And Luis is certainly one of those dealers that will always steer you in the right direction, and make sure that he obviously finds you the proper equipment for your particular listening space. Last few words, guys. Anyone else that may want to say something?
Well, I'll say something. I mean, at 3MA, we want to make sure that we have people enjoy and experience these systems. We want to try to bring the experience to as many people as possible, right? And that's why we're doing all of this. That's why we have these types of systems in our showrooms. Not very many dealers have MBL Extremes, line array of Ariel Acoustics, reference line. Like, not very many dealers have this. And we want to make sure that we have as many people experiencing this as possible, because, it's our passion. It's what we live for, what we love. And, we have a lot of fun with it. If you've ever seen some of our events that, Jay, you've been a part of, we have a lot of fun here. And we want to bring that same energy, same fun to all of you in Dallas when we meet you guys.
Well, guys, that about wraps it up for this video. Thank you for your partnership, your support. And I look forward to seeing you guys in about 18 days from today.
All right. Get some rest, guys.
Well, get some rest and get ready to party. Please make sure you check out my website, jaysaudiolab.com, for other cool content. And do not forget to subscribe and hit the like button. Guys, I will see you in 18 days. Peace.
Thank you, Jay. Thanks, everybody.
Amazing.
Wow.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.